Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Great to see you. I hope you're doing well. Got round two over in the Cincinnati Masters. Today we're going to be going through the first lot of these matches. As always, we'll go through each and every one of them. Make sure you get your comments in with your predictions. Anything that I'm going to be going for personally will be in that pinned comment, where it always is. Feel free to take a look at that, and you do with it what you will. You can take it if you want, leave it if you must. It's entirely up to you. Before we get started, like the video. If you'd be so kind, get yourself subscribed to the channel. If you're not already, it would be an honour to welcome you to the squad. We continue to grow each and every day, so get yourself involved. And support the channel if you want. There's a link in the description, pinned comment. There's a thanks under the video. Do not feel obliged. It's entirely up to you. Very well. Now that's out the way. First things first, really quick. How did you all get on today? There was nothing from me personally. I just sat off the first round. It's still going on right now. Still a few games being played. Please do let me know. Did you win? Did you lose? Did you just come close? And now we'll get straight into business. Hey, why not? Let's get it on. Alright then, so first off, Alex Michelsen, Moutet. It's going to be a good one. Should be rather interesting indeed. I think it'll be close. Not much to split the two, really, based on what we know. With it being the hard court, you'd probably say this is as good of a chance as it's going to get for Alex Michelsen. They have played each other twice before, both of them going the way of Moutet. Once last year in Monte Carlo, and then most recently in Mallorca this year on the grass, not that long ago. Yeah, both in straight sets too. Beat the shit out of him last year on the clay. Kind of expect that. 6-1, 6-3, and then 6-4 and a tiebreak in Mallorca. Nice. I wouldn't be surprised to see Moutet win this one again. He has already played the one game over in Cincinnati in the first round. He got past Mackenzie McDonald in straight sets. We've just seen Alex Michelsen get to the quarterfinals over in Toronto this week. When did he last play? The 5th. Got beat by Kachanov in straight sets. Certainly no shame in that. He had a decent run as well. Fairly decent run to the quarters. Barriers further. It's whatever. Lorenzo Musetti in 3. And then he turned up and just beat the shit out of Lerner TN. Happy days. Happy days. I said there's not a lot to split the two on this one. 13-9 for Michelsen, 12-7 for Moutet. I think Moutet has played a lot better on the hard court this season than what I expected. Absolutely. 29-20 overall, 25-19 for Alex Michelsen. What are the odds, you may be asking? I had Moutet opening up around 2.2. It's now sitting at 1.9 a piece. We call a split right down the middle. I couldn't talk it off either one of these for a set. Me personally, even if we get the best version of either one of these, I do believe Moutet has got more ways to win this match than, let's say, Alex Michelsen. And I'm not saying Michelsen can't. I'm not writing him off by any means. Absolutely not. But I feel like providing he can serve well, which that's going to be crucial for him in this one. If he can serve well, given the quicker conditions, he should have a better chance at at least taking a set. At least taking a set, you know what I mean? Moutet, he ain't exactly a world beater on the hard court, although I have said he's most definitely showed some improvements this season. What was the tournament we seen him in? What one was it? Was it Washington? Not that long ago. Yeah, the one he didn't even qualify for over in Washington. He gets beat in qualifying, comes back, destroys Alexander Muller, Dan Evans, beats Daniel Medvedev in the quarterfinals, and then falls victim to the Demon in the semis. I think he could beat Alex Michelsen. He's done it twice before. Hard court, things may be a little bit different this time around. He may have a tougher time dealing with the pace and the power. But if he can wrap himself around it, I would most definitely fancy Moutet rather, to at least win a set. At least win a set. I'm expecting at least a set out of Moutet. But you do with that what you will. You could be in for a long one. Could be an over. But let me know, as always. And we'll move on to Roman Safiullin, Holger Rune. I'd like to think Holger Rune can get this done. As a matter of fact, I do think Holger Rune is going to get this one done. He's much better, and he's much better. I'd like to sit here and think someone who's just within the top 10 can get it done against someone who's just within the top 100. Ninth in the world for Holger Rune, 82 for Roman Safiullin. And we all know why. We all know the levels. They've played each other twice before. Holger Rune has won both of them. Once indoors, once outdoors. Both last year. Rotterdam, indoors. Brisbane, start of the season, outdoors. I'm expecting more of the same. I am expecting more of the same. There's not a lot to be said, excuse me, about a matchup like this. I mean, I speak for myself. I know I don't speak for everyone, but I know there's a lot out there that do the same. We pretty much watch every one of these games, don't we? You don't really need me to sit here and tell you Holger Rune should be beating Roman Safiullin. It's probably just an easy prediction. Roman Safiullin looked alright against Alejandro Tabilo in the first round, but it's how much weight that holds. I'm not too sure. Holger Rune didn't exactly have the greatest end to the grass campaign, but now we're back onto the hard court. He seems to be back to winning ways. He's went 2-1 since we've come back. Gio and Pechi Pericard, Alexander Muller in straight sets, and he did take a set off of Alexei Popyrin in Toronto, but ended up losing that one eventually. And I will just say about that as well. You can say what you want about the performance. He kind of looked like he tapered off towards the end, and took the first set and then a 6-2 and a 6-3. Yeah, kind of not how I seen that match going, but it is what it is. That's not that bad of a loss as what it probably would have been, let's just say, a couple of weeks ago, even a month ago. Alexei Popyrin, we identified it as well. It took him a couple of times, especially with the overs. He was fantastic over in Canada. He looked nothing like the Alexei Popyrin that we'd seen all season, so that loss isn't really that bad to me. 1.3, this is the question, and if you're going anywhere near this, you're going to have to parlay it with something. Are you comfortable with paying 1.3 for Holger Rune today? I do think he's going to win. I wouldn't advise anyone against it. Just ask yourself this: is it worth the 1.3? He probably wins, and even if he does, you'll go, you're going to sit there and wish you took this at 1.3. Probably not. That's for those who are having a bet on it, obviously. I'm just going to pass. I would pass on that. Holger Rune most definitely should be getting it done, but you do with that what you will. You make your own choice. And we'll move on to Benjamin Bonzi, Lorenzo Musetti. This is another one. The odds are identical on this. Lorenzo Musetti, 1.3. Played each other 4 times before. Head to head is 3-1 to the Italian. Most recent was last year in the Australian Open, 3-1. Very close game. There was 2 tiebreakers in that too. And then Bonzi in Istanbul, 2021, 2019 on the clay. Both times for Musetti. Doesn't really do much for us in this spot today. Hands up. Who thinks Lorenzo Musetti can't really be trusted on the hard court? It's not impersonal. If we were playing on the clay, I'd be going with in a heartbeat. I would be going with Lorenzo Musetti in a heartbeat if we were on the clay, but we're not. We're not on the clay. It's quite the contrary. We're on the hard court. And this guy's looked quite. I've been quite concerned for Lorenzo Musetti since the French Open, since he had to pull out against Alcaraz. Turned up in Wimbledon and just got dog walked by Basilashvili. That was very unexpected, to say the least. Washington gets beat by Cam now. He does take a set in that. Takes out James Duckworth in Toronto. And then he ends up taking a set off Alex Michelsen and gets beat by him as well. I don't know. I mean, 1-3, 1 win, 3 losses. Ain't too great. It ain't too great. It's most certainly not unlike the Musetti we've seen on the clay. 19-4 so far this year. 7-6 on the hard court. 0-1 on the grass. He is playing Benjamin Bonzi, which is more than a winnable match. Most definitely a beatable opponent for the Italian. You have to admit that. I just don't fancy going against Benjamin Bonzi today. I've got a weird feeling. He looked alright against Matteo Arnaldi, but that's a little bit different. Lorenzo Musetti's much more complete. But just going off what I've seen since we've come back to the hard court, I've been far from impressed. Benjamin Bonzi, as we know, is more than capable of throwing in a bit of a sleeper performance every now and then. takes out some good names just when you don't expect it. He did beat Medvedev first round in Wimbledon. Been on a 3-game losing streak since. Jordan Thompson, Fabian Marozsan, Adam Walton, and then he's just came out of nowhere and took out Matteo Arnaldi. It's very hard to get a read on. Now, I'm not saying Benjamin Bonzi's going to win this game, but I am more than aware of what Benjamin Bonzi can do on the hard court, providing he brings it. Now, I feel like I've said this maybe the majority, if not every single time we've been faced with Benjamin Bonzi this season, and more often than not, it probably would have backfired on me. It is what it is. I'm still clutching onto the Benjamin Bonzi at the end of last season, but this guy that stands before us today, it's quite the shell of the player that we once seen last season. Obviously, I think Musetti should be beating him. It's the cop-out. It's the easy answer to go. You look at this and go, yeah, look, Musetti, most definitely. But if we're talking business, once again, like I said with the Holger Rune match, are you comfortable with paying 1.3 with Lorenzo Musetti when the only person he's stood a chance against so far is James Duckworth? Nothing personal, nothing against James Duckworth, but I'm just saying, he ain't looked 1.3 worthy to me. And he is a top 10 draw. He is essentially one of the best in the world, no doubt about it, but when it comes to the hard court, he does not play like a top 10 opponent. A top 10 calibre. Far from it. I'm not saying Benjamin Bonzi is any better. Absolutely not, but just looking at the price here, 3.5 for Bonzi. Maybe have a look at the spread. I think if he can turn up, he can serve well. He definitely has the power to hang with Lorenzo Musetti. It's just if he can keep them headers in check, I'd fancy him to keep it close. Maybe look at an over. Maybe look at Bonzi on the spread. I'm not picking that with much conviction, if any, at all. But it just have to be the way it is for that one. It's the way it's got to be. Just for today, we'll assess the situation tomorrow. We'll see who comes out as the winner. And we'll move on to Casper Ruud and Artur Rinderknech. I'll be going with Casper Ruud. To beat Artur Rinderknech. Played each other 4 times before. Every match going the way of Casper Ruud twice this year. Once in 2023, once in 2021. Not only of all the matches went the way of Casper Ruud, every single set has went the way of Casper Ruud. Yeah, that's right. That might fill you with a bit more hope, providing you were taking Casper Ruud today. What is the price, you may ask? Call it 1.4. Opened up as a massive favourite, 1.25 for me personally, and it now sits at 1.4. Maybe the price was just too good to pass up on with Artur Rinderknech. I'm not too sure. I will say this: played each other 3 times on the clay, once on the hard court. He did beat him in Acapulco earlier on in the season, 6-4, 6-3, and then he beat him in Madrid, 6-3, 6-4 on the clay. Maybe not. If these had played more matchups on the hard court, do you think Artur Rinderknech would have been more likely to have at least nicked one of them? At least one? I don't think that would be that crazy of an assumption. I really don't. I wouldn't fancy going anywhere near him today. Casper Ruud should be too good for him, really, but these quick conditions, we've seen what Artur Rinderknech can do in these quick conditions, man. He can stand behind that serve so well. He can at least, at the bare minimum, keep this one close. 1.4 for Casper Ruud. Seems to be what we've been getting. That seems to have been the Casper Ruud price ever since he shat the bed to JM Cerundolo over in Gstaad. Decent price against Safiullin, decent one against Nuno Borges, decent one. He was a dog against Kachanov. Okay, he didn't win, but kind of being a bit more generous with the Casper Ruud price now, aren't they? I feel like people are rather hesitant to trust him. I think we can trust him in this. I mean, I think apart from that big save, I feel like if Casper Ruud can neutralise that, which he most definitely can, I think Artur Rinderknech may be rendered rather defenceless in this one today. Not a lot of expectations for the Frenchman coming into this, unless he's going to turn up and just smoke him out the bunker with that save. I can't see it. But there's still something within me that I don't want to go with Casper Ruud on a bet. I couldn't touch him still. How long is it going to take? How long is it going to take? Because we kind of knew he'd go on a decent little run in Toronto. I say a decent run, I mean, not much he can do against Kachanov that week, but how much longer am I going to cling on to that result against Cerundolo? We're not even on the clay anymore. It's like, I don't know. It really has made me nervous to go near him in this one. As far as the prediction goes, it would have to be Casper Ruud. Absolutely. Every day of the week. Look at the head-to-head. Look at the head-to-head. Twice this year already. Go for the hat-trick. I'd be going with Casper Ruud. 12-6 on the surface. Arthur Rinderknech, 2 wins, 9 losses on the hard court. Get the fuck out. Get out. Casper Ruud. All day. Don't overthink it. I wish you the best of luck if you're going for it. And then we've got Stefanos Tsitsipas and Fabian Marozsan. Tsitsipas. Press F to pay your respects to Tsitsipas, man. I cannot believe what I've witnessed with this guy this season. It's a shame. It's a shame, man. And I hate to be the one to go on about it, but I feel like we kind of have to, don't we? But this guy has just not been good. He ain't been that great. You may be looking at it going, well, he's went 20 wins and 16 losses. That's still better than a lot of them. I admit it is. It is. That's not that bad. 9-6 on the hard court. That's not that bad. 2-2 on the grass is a bit snad. 7-5 on the clay is not that bad. But that's 7-5 on the clay from Tsitsipas, especially it's August now. 7-5 on the clay is piss poor. By his standards. Maybe I'm holding him to too high of a regard, but for me personally, I feel like Tsitsipas would be the first to admit it's been a very, very poor season for him. 7-5 on the clay, and we're in August now. That's fucking diabolical. That's an absolute shambles. If you'd have told me after Dubai, when he took that title, remember he got his new Babolat, and he just terrorised everyone, didn't he? No one stood a chance. And we were all sitting here at the start of March going, oh my God, Tsitsipas is going to bully everyone. What happened? What the fuck happened to this guy? I thought at least he was going to go to Monte Carlo and beat everyone. That's usually what he does. No, didn't do nothing there. I feel like he did get to back-to-back quarterfinals, so maybe I'm underselling him a little bit, but it just hasn't been that good. Ever since like early clay season, you're talking 1 win and a loss, barely getting past the first round. And I feel like the one that kind of done it for me was the one most recently against Christopher O'Connell. When I seen Tsitsipas play Christopher O'Connell over in Toronto the other day, I felt very sad. It was a shame. It was very sad to watch. It was very hard to see. I don't know what he's going to have to do in order to get back to where he was. The fact that he's currently sitting at 30th in the world now as well is just, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, man. Fabian Marozsan's 56th in the world. He's closer to like Fabian Marozsan than what he is to like fucking, it just feels weird to say. I'm looking at the odds and the split right down the middle, and I kind of have to agree. I would love Tsitsipas to win. I would love nothing more than Tsitsipas to win this one, but he is currently on a 4-game losing streak. He's won 3 of his last 10. You can't trust him. You can't trust him. Fabian Marozsan, I mean, this guy doesn't exactly bring me full of confidence either, to be honest with you, but he's currently doing a little bit more. He seems to have a lot more momentum behind him, in a bit better form. That's 6 wins in his last 10. He's took out Colton Smith in the first round. He took out Felix in Toronto, had a decent game against Flavio Cobolli. Now, the hard court ain't exactly Fabian Marozsan's strong suit, but I feel like he definitely possesses a certain style that could most definitely stifle this version of Tsitsipas today. I could. With them odds being so close, I feel like that kind of tells you a small tale within itself. If this was any other season, any other point in time, you'd have never got an odds like that. Never. You'd have seen like Tsitsipas around 1.3. I think it's kind of testament to the shape he's in at the moment. I couldn't even just risk it. I couldn't even just risk this one and go, yeah, Tsitsipas just because I think he should. We ain't really seen anything. We ain't seen anything as of late to suggest he's just going to turn it on like that and snap back into winning ways. I hate myself for saying it, but I've got eyes and I know what I see. And I feel like you may or may not, I feel like some, maybe most will agree. I would probably have to go with Fabian Marozsan, at least for the set in this one. at least for a set. Maybe that's just what they want you to think. I don't know. I think this one is a lot of stress. We could be in for a long one. Either one of these could lose in straight sets, and it could look absolutely horrendous. You never know. It's really what we're dealing with here. I feel like Tsitsipas is most definitely in the danger zone at the moment. I don't think I could trust him. And it hurts to say it, but it's just the way it is, and it's the way it's got to be for a moment. If that was anyone else, you'd go nowhere near them. You'd go nowhere near them. Same rule applies for the Greek in this one. It would have to be Fabian Marozsan or nothing. We kind of spent a bit too long on that one, didn't we? Who have we got next? Etcheverry, Felix Auger-Aliassime. Someone mentioned this one in the comments. I think it was in yesterday's video. I think Felix gets this one done. I think Felix gets this one done against Etcheverry on the hard court. First round. How deep Felix is going to go in this tournament, I couldn't tell you. But I would have to assume he's going to get past Etcheverry. Etcheverry kind of looked decent against Jerry Xiang. And I say he kind of looked decent. I mean, he kind of does. He kind of does look decent when he plays, does he not? Jerry Xiang, I mean, he ain't exactly... we ain't seen that much from him this season. As a matter of fact, we've seen fuck all from him this season. We've seen a couple of games out of him at the start of the year, and then he's been off ever since. Was that the Australian Open? Has he really not played since then? Is that... Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a shame. Jerry Xiang's a belter as well when he's fit. But Etcheverry had a very close game with him. And considering Xiang's only played like 4 or 5 games more than I have on the tour this season, it was a very close game indeed. Admittingly, hard court is definitely not Etcheverry's strong suit, but since we've come back onto the hard court, he's played 4 matches and he's won 3 of them. Pierre Hughes Herbert made Talon Griekspoor look shit in Toronto, ended up getting beat by Francisco Cerundolo, and then the one against Jerry Xiang in the first round. Not bad. Felix is currently on a 2-game losing streak, one of them in the Hopman Cup to Flavio Cobolli, and then the last one was to Fabian Marozsan, straight sets over in Toronto. Brilliant performance from Marozsan, I'll admit, but not exactly what I'd want to see coming into this one. Not at all. Especially with Etcheverry having a win under his belt. He's not too bad. Just because he's not necessarily a hardcore player doesn't mean he can't hang on the hard court. Felix has went 13-7, Etcheverry's went 7-7. Like I said, for the sake of the pick, it would have to be Felix, just based on what we've seen and what we know already. 1.4 is the price you're gonna have to pay. People are taking it too. People are taking it. I couldn't talk you off it. If you want to be super brave and take Etcheverry on a spread or for a set, then be my guest. But I don't think he should be getting this one done. Those that have been on the channel for quite some time, you know what I've always said. Anyway, like 1.3 to 1.4, that's the price that you have to pay for Felix to ruin your day. I would certainly not be touching that. Not at that price. I am expecting Felix to win, for what it means. But, do you think you could take him today? Is any takers on Felix today? Is it just me? Like, I'm always nervous as hell to bet on this guy. Providing you're betting on anyway, you might not be, and then in that case you don't give a shit about this part. But for those that are, it's not just me, is it? Even the matches like this, I look at and go, yeah, come on now, like, he's got to win this. Every match feels like a 50-50 with this guy. Every match feels like a 50-50, so I suppose with that being said, with the price being 1.4, that's the best reason just to stay away from it, innit? Can't give me a better reason than that. But I do think he gets it done. Absolutely. So next up, we'll have Pedro Martinez and Tommy Paul. Probably one of the quickest ones of the night. Tommy Paul, one of the biggest favourites of the day that we've got. Well, along with Jannik Sinner anyway. 1.1 to be precise. He gets this one done. I refuse to believe otherwise. They've played each other 5 times before. Ever since Pedro Martinez beat him the first time in 2019 in the US Open as well. Qualifying for the US Open, mind you. That was straight sets. Tommy Paul's beat him every single time they played. One of them was a retirement in 2021, but twice on the clay, once indoors, and then most recently on the grass last year in Wimbledon, 3-1. Feels like an age ago, doesn't it? I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Pedro Martinez did just beat Nicolas Jarry, which I'm quite surprised. I'm quite surprised in that. How much do I expect from Martinez over on the hard court? Not a lot. Not a lot, to say the least. How much do I expect from Tommy Paul on the hard court? Quite a lot. Quite a lot. Maybe too much. Sometimes I put a bit too much faith in Tommy Paul, but in a matchup like this, there should be no question. There should be no question at all as to who's going to win this one. Last time I seen Tommy Paul was against Sebastian Ofner in the second round in Wimbledon, and he ended up losing that one 3-1. Kind of got bullied a bit by Sebastian Ofner, and looking back at that now, doesn't look that good, does it? Sebastian Ofner ain't been that great. I don't think it matters. I do not think it matters at all. Getting Pedro Martinez as quite a big dog in this one, 7-1, a 7-1 dog. That is a very, very tempting price indeed. Unfortunately, it is tacked on to Pedro Martinez, and I would be having no business with that. It'd have to be Tommy Paul, either which way he wants to go about his business is entirely up to him. But at 1.1, there is certainly no business to be done with that, unless you take the spread or you do something with the total. But I've got no time for that one today. Tommy Paul should get that one done with relative ease. And then we'll crack on with Sebastian Baez. Gabe Diallo. Has to be Gabe Diallo for me. Has to be Gabe Diallo for me. I imagine he is a massive favourite in this, and he is indeed. Massive favourite indeed. 1.2, 1.25 is as good as it's getting today. That is the price you're going to have to pay for Gabe Diallo, and I kind of agree. These have played each other once before. It was back in Bucharest on the clay earlier on this year. Close enough game. Tie break in the first to Baez, 6-2 in the second to Diallo, and then a 6-2 in the third for Sebastian Baez. That's right. Probably not that surprised that he beats him on the clay. Sebastian Baez beats pretty much everyone on the clay. No surprise there. But now we're on the hard court. And considering he beat him a couple of months ago, we transition to the hard court a few months later. And Gabe Diallo is a colossal favourite. And we all know why. I think he's just going to be too big, too strong, just too much. He possesses all the weapons necessary to take out Sebastian Baez on the hard court. Sebastian Baez can barely play on the hard court, we know this. He thrives on the clay, hard court not so much. I'm not shocked, but I suppose he got a very convincing win against David Goffin. Now that's not saying that much, I will admit, but 6-1, 6-3. Quite a surprise win for Sebastian Baez on the hard court. Make that his first win on the hard court all season. That's right, 1-4 on the season, with that one being the first one against David Goffin. Gabe Diallo, 12-10 on the year. Ain't exactly seen his best tennis on the hard court this season. He most definitely put in the best hustle over on the grass, but I don't think it should matter too much in this one. I feel like he most definitely should be getting it done. I'd be shocked. I'd be very shocked if Diallo was to get beat by Sebastian Baez today. Sebastian Baez barely beats anyone on the hard court, so if for some reason you want to take Diallo at 1.2 and you parlay that with something, if for whatever reason the sky would fall and Sebastian Baez takes him out today, just know that you're very unlucky. You're very, very unlucky. I can't see him getting it done, unfortunately. It would have to be Gabe Diallo or nothing in that one. And then next up, got another tough one. We've got Thomas Machac and Adrian Mannarino. I'm excited for this. I can't wait for this. I've got one more night shift tonight. I'll be able to watch all these tomorrow and just chill. Cannot wait. I'm looking forward to this one. Especially, me, I'm a big Thomas Machac fan, although it has been rather painful. It's been rather depressing for us Thomas Machac fans this season, to say the least. 2-game losing streak, Holmgren, very close game in Wimbledon, and then a close one against Riley Pelcher the other day in Toronto. He's currently won 4 of his last 10. That's not very Thomas Machac-like. Overall on the season, 19-13 is not that bad. It's not that bad. It's quite good. 11-5 on the hard court. If we're getting anything from Thomas Machac, it is going to be on these quicker surfaces, no doubt. 11-5, 2-1 indoors. Adrian Mannarino, man. You know what I say about this guy every single time. and it's the same now. It's the same stands. These have played each other twice before, by the way. Machac beat him in the Ultimate Tennis Showdown. You know what we think about them. That was in 3 on the hard court, and then Mannarino beat him at Indian Wells last season, 6-1, 6-2. Absolute beatdown. Absolute beatdown. Now, at this point in his career, I always say with Adrian Mannarino, as the same would I say with the rest of them, the fact that we still get to watch them turn up and put on these performances after performance as well, it's quite a spectacle. It's quite a spectacle to behold. I love watching Adrian Mannarino. It's fantastic to watch, win or lose. It's always a very intriguing match at tennis. And I will say this, and I feel like the majority of the fellas on the tour would agree with me as well. If you can't play against Adrian Mannarino, you're fucked. If you can't deal with what this guy has to bring, you are so fucked. So fucked. Thomas Machac, the way he's been playing so far, I mean, I know he's beat him this year already. Okay, I know that. Personally, I believe he should be beating Adrian Mannarino at this point. 1.4 for Thomas Machac today. It's not a bad price. It's an okay, it's a sound parlay piece, but that for me is just, I think you're putting a bit too much faith in him. A little bit too much faith. Would you be surprised to see Mannarino turn up here and give him so much trouble? So much trouble to the point where he just eventually beats him if he breaks. Mannarino's already won 3 games over here in Cincinnati, come through qualifying, both of them in straight sets, and then he took out Jordan Thompson in straight sets too. But look at these results. Just remember what I've just said about if you can't play, if you're not used to what this guy can give, you're so screwed. 6-1, 6-1 against Kruger. He played Fokina in the second round of qualifying, 6-3, 6-4, bit closer. And then Jordan Thompson, 6-2, 6-2 in the first round. This is what he does. This is what he does. More often than not, he makes you beat yourself. Hang on a minute. What? Yeah, you know what I mean. You'll break yourself more often than not with this guy. What the fuck? And I think Thomas Machac most definitely falls into that category, 100%. I would love to take him at 1.4. Like I said, I can't wait to watch it. We could be in for a long one. Although those Mannarino results would be rather off-putting if you were looking towards an over on this. I do think Machac on the day possesses a hell of a lot more than Kruger, Fokina, and let's say a Jordan Thompson. But I ain't really seeing that much from Thomas Machac. I haven't seen that much. He had a close one with Riley at Pelka. It's going to happen, innit? It's bound to happen. 2 tie breaks in there. Could be in for a long one in this. Could be straight sets either way. I think it's too tough to predict. I think this is just one of them. Either one could win. I think this is probably more on paper. It maybe looks more one-sided than the other. I would lean towards Thomas Machac, just on a pure hope pick. You know, I do want him to win. He probably should be winning. 22 in the world for Machac, 94 for Mannarino. Yeah, it shouldn't really be a question. It shouldn't be a question. Thomas Machac should be too strong in his service games and be able to see this one out. But like I said, crazier things have happened. If you're not prepared, if you turned up and you're not ready for Mannarino, he will definitely beat you, 100%. 100%. So it's just food for thought. You do with that one what you will. And then we've got Jannik Sinner and Daniel Galan. What are we doing here? Who's done this? Like, who's in charge here, man? I mean, 1.01 for Jannik Sinner against Daniel Galan. Of course he is. Of course he is. Oh my. Oh my, they've played each other twice before, and you know what? The games have been rather close. 2021, the Davis Cup, 7-5 and a bagel. Alright, whatever. And then Wimbledon 2 years ago, tie break in the first, 6-4, 6-3. I think this version of Jannik Sinner just destroys Daniel Galan. I really do. How close do we think Galan can keep this? That's the only question. That is the only question. How close does Galan keep this match? It's a best of 3. With odds like that, you're going to have a giant spread. 5, maybe 6.5. Maybe 6.5. Wouldn't be surprised to see him get bageled once, maybe even twice in this. I think it's going to be a quick one. I think it's going to be short and sweet. Jannik Sinner, easy as you like. I mean, he can't lose, can he? Can he? Surely you can't lose this one. I don't see a world. where Daniel Galan comes close to trouble in Jannik Sinner here. I really don't. Although he's come through qualifying and he's yet to drop a set. Taro Daniel, Shevchenko, Vic Capriva. That's surprising. That is quite surprising. I will admit, I didn't expect that. Is it going to mean anything against the world number one? Probably not. It's probably not, right? Probably ain't going to mean fuck all. 1.01 for Jannik Sinner. We all know the reasoning behind that. And then we've got Wong and Hugo Humbert. Oh, good old Hugo Humbert. Where have you been? Where have you been, old boy? I've missed you. I ain't seen him since the first round of Wimbledon. When he got beat by Gael Monfils, I was kind of disappointed. I was gutted for him. For those that have been on the channel for quite some time, you know me. Hugo Humbert is one of my favourite players. He done good for me. He done some bits for me over the seasons, most definitely. This season, not so much. I've kind of there came a point last season where I kind of went, you know what, it ain't working. It ain't really working for Hugo Humbert, and he's kind of struggled to get back to the form that we know he can get in. A lot of 2-1s, you know, 1-1s here and there. Really struggling in the form department. Gael Monfils beat him in Wimbledon. Jensen Brooksby beat him in Eastbourne. We haven't seen him transition back to the hard court. Now, I would assume he's got more than enough to beat a player the calibre of Coleman Wong. But he's come through qualifying too, and he's looked more than impressive in doing so. Straight sets, the lot of them. J.M. Sarundalo, Mochizuki, and then he took out Gio and Pechi Pericard in the first round. That's right, 6-3, 6-2. Beat the shit out of him. Oh, is he going to beat Hugo Humbert? I don't want to admit it, but I feel like he could do. If you look at it on paper, he shouldn't be. Like, Coleman Wong's got no business beating Hugo Humbert, realistically. If you look at it for what it is, 9-9 on the season, on the surface, 6-5 for Hugo Humbert. It's not that great. 17-14. I've been rather disappointed with Hugo Humbert this season. Okay, he did get injured, like, you know, that happened, didn't it? But even before that, he just didn't really seem to set the world alight. He started the season okay. Tends to do all the business indoors. Started the season, he was fine, but everyone tries to get off to a good start over in Australia. But go over to Marseille. He won the title in Marseille, and I'm not surprised at all. Like the majority of the French players, they tend to thrive on the indoor courts, especially over in France. But ever since then, it's been very patchy, far from trustworthy. I'll say that. What is the price? 1.4, 1.5. Now this opened up at 1.2. He's now sitting at 1.5. I think that's a bit ridiculous. 1.5 may seem like an absolute steal come tomorrow. I'm expecting Hugo Humbert to win it. I really am. I just haven't seen him. I think I could trust him to get it done, even though it's technically the transition game from the grass. We haven't seen him for over a month now. Over a month. What has he been doing for the past month? Has he been there training? Has he been on the hard courts? Has he been in his room playing guitar? I don't know. Whatever he's been doing, I hope he turns up. I hope he's ready for this. Because Coleman Wong, anyone else, in the form that they're in, they stand at least a chance. They're always in with at least a decent little shout at pulling off an upset here. Like I say, he hasn't dropped a set so far in Cincinnati. Hugo Humbert may just be a bit of a step up in class. But if you're not ready, then you're not going to be ready. It's as simple as that. I don't think I could go near Hugo Humbert at 1.4. Quite proud of myself. The Paulie Sports of seasons gone by would have just taken Hugo Humbert regardless of the form. Just on a passion pick alone. But I've learned that sometimes with Hugo Humbert, sometimes more often than not, one unit on just a little bit of patience goes a hell of a long way when we're dealing with this guy. Well, we'll see how he looks. If he turns up and looks good against Coleman Wong, I may consider him in one of the next ones. So we've got a few more. We've got Terence Atman and Flavio Cobolli. Have to be Flavio Cobolli, wouldn't it? It would have to be Flavio Cobolli. Like I said earlier on, we watch pretty much all of these matches. It's not like we see it, once a fortnight or once a week. There's so many games and we see these play all the time, multiple times a week sometimes. Flavio Cobolli should be beating Terence Atman. He's another one who's flown through qualifying, is yet to drop a set. Took out Nishioka in the first round. Don't really mean that much to me. That don't impress me much, as Shania Twain would say. Flavio Cobolli has been a beast, to say the least. He's been an absolute beast. Been beating everyone, pretty much everyone. The runs that he's been going on are phenomenal. Ever since the clay court came round, he's been great. Fantastic. I was very concerned for the Italian to start the season. Early on in the hard court was very concerning indeed. But as soon as we come onto the clay, we kind of knew it. We kind of clue it. That was most definitely the spark that he was looking for. Got himself, was that 2 titles? Where were they? Bucharest and Hamburg. Yeah, I was going to say Hal. It was in Germany, over in Hamburg. 2 titles on the clay. Fairly decent on the grass too, you have to admit. Won all them 3 games in the Hopman Cup. 1-1 in Washington, got smoked by Big Foe. And then 2-1 in Toronto before he got beat by the eventual winner in Ben Shelton. Shout out to Shelley for wrapping that title up. Happy days, happy days. It's what we need to be doing. Yeah, Terence Atman, I couldn't trust him either which way on the spread or whatnot. What's he ranked? 132. It shouldn't be a question. It shouldn't be a question. Flavio Cobolli's within the top 20 now, 17 to be precise. And you know, for the most part that we've seen the past few months, he's played like a top 10. He really has. I think he's much better. He's much better. Although the hard court records this season would suggest otherwise. 6-9 for Flavio Cobolli. Like I say, he got hammered on the hard court to start the year off. 21-13 for Terence Atman. That's probably not what you want to hear, or probably definitely not what you want to see. If you were taking Flavio Cobolli in this one, Terence Atman is more than capable on the hard court, evidently. I just think it's a step up in class, is it not? Is this just not quite the step up in class? Let me just check what Terence Atman's been up to all season. Qualifying, yeah, it's a load of challenges, decent runs in the challenger, not a lot to write home about in the main draw, unfortunately. It would have to be Flavio Cobolli or nothing. You don't need me to explain that one to you, surely not. Right, so next up we've got Zizou Bergs and Lorenzo Sonego. Should be a good one. This should be a decent match. It's got all the makings and the potential to be a decent game anyway, I'd say. Zizou Bergs, prior to Cincinnati, ain't been that great. As a matter of fact, since he got to the final in Den Bosch, ended up losing to Gabe Diallo. He had a very good run over in Holland as well. It's been nothing but misery ever since. He was on a 7 game losing streak prior to the win against Jacob Fernley, and it was an absolute beatdown as well. 6-1, 6-4, kind of came out of nowhere given what we've seen the past month or two. Decent performance. You take from that what you will. He's now got to take on Lorenzo Sonego, and I think he definitely stands a chance at winning. I think Sonego, it's a tough one with Lorenzo Sonego. I think he's perfect to just bet these in play. These Sonego matches, I usually tend to lean towards the over 22.5. I think in the quicker conditions, especially with Zizou Bergs, definitely puts in his best kind of work over on the hard surface. Earlier on in the season, he nearly had himself another title as well. Where was it? It was very early on. Let me just double check. One of the Australia over in Auckland. Yeah. Come through qualifying, flew through the entire tournament, got beat by Gael Monfils in the final. Then ever since that, it was quite patchy indeed. Ain't really done anything since that, apart from the run over in Den Bosch on the grass. And then, like I said, he's done fuck all pretty much since that. But he currently sits on 24-20 on the season, 13-9 on the hard court. It's most certainly a lot more promising than the record of the Italian. Absolutely, 15-9 for Sonego, 15-19. Actually, not 15-9. He wishes. 15-19 for Sonego. 1-5 on the clay, 8-8 on the hard court, 1-2 indoors. Yeah, it's exactly what I expect. He has most definitely become somewhat of a 50-50 player over the seasons. He's a favourite in this as well, 1.7. He opened up around 1.6, it's now 1.7. Clearly, a few people fancy a little piece of Zizou Bergs as the dog in this one. I couldn't talk it off Zizou Bergs for a set. Like I said, I usually tend to lean towards an over in these Sonego matches. Bergs has been anything but trustworthy leading up to this since mid-June, and we're now early August, and he hasn't won a game since the 14th of June. Yeah, very concerning. Well, he has just won a game. He won one in the first round, but you know what I mean. Prior to that one, he hasn't won one since the 14th of June. We've just seen Sonego give Rublev a decent go over in Toronto. He took out Boo in the first match, took a set off. Rublev ended up getting beat in the end. He lost to Matteo Arnaldi in Washington too, so it's very hard to get a read on Lorenzo Sonego. Like I said, I think he's ideal to just bet in play. What I do think, if I had to just try and predict this one, how I think it may go, providing the two of them turn up, I think the pair of them possess a strong enough service game to at least see this one over that 23.5 maybe. Sonego does like a couple of 7 sets, don't he? Couple of 7s, whether it's a 7-5 or 7-6. Bergs, I just don't think I could go anywhere near trusting him to do anything. I don't think the win against Jacob Fernley is anywhere near enough to suggest that he's going to be back to at least what we've seen at the earlier on in the season, maybe even what we've seen in Den Bosch. We know that player that resides within, but when do we get it? Once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon. Certainly not consistent enough for me. And as for Lorenzo Sonego, with Sonego being a favourite, he's probably more inconsistent than Bergs. So, I don't know. You pick your poison on that one. Probably got to be an over for me. And then two more. The last one will be dead quick. It's piss easy, but this one, I imagine we're all looking forward to this. We've got Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, Joao Fonseca. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? There can only be one. I hope Joao Fonseca looks a lot better in this match than what he did against Tristan Schoolkate in Toronto. Very, very disappointing to say the least. Did manage to get the win against Boo. We probably would have ended up picking him for that anyway, but it was anything but easy. 2-1 for the Brazilian, and that happy days. At least he's back to winning. He ain't looked too good leading up to this though, I'll give him that. He looked okay for a game or two in Wimbledon, got beat by Nicolas Jarry, then got fisted by Tristan Schoolkate. Kind of put me off a little bit, but like I say all the time, I kind of know that the level is Joao Fonseca. I know how good he can be, but I'll never hold it against him, especially at this point in his career if he doesn't deliver. I mean, it is what it is, innit? Davidovich Fokina, let me just say this. He is a favourite, 1.6 to be precise. I agree with that. Given what we've seen this season, pretty much all season, as a matter of fact, even as of late, I don't think Joao Fonseca should be beating this version of Davidovich Fokina. He's been playing too good. He's in too good of a form. A lot of momentum coming into it. He has played a hell of a lot of tennis since we've come back onto the hard court. He played in Mexico. He's played in Washington. Played in Toronto. And now here he is in the Cincinnati Masters. It's the same with all of them that go on these decent runs. It's great, innit? You want them to do well. And it's hard to go against them because you look at the form and you go, shit, they're winning the majority of the matches. But there comes a time where you're kind of waiting for them to run out of gas. And when Davidovich Fokina runs out of gas, he looks fucking awful. He looks awful. And I'm not saying he's going to do that in this one. He did have to pull out against Rublev in Toronto. So just maybe, he ain't that ready for this one. Joao Fonseca, just when I'm sitting here thinking all what I've just said, Davidovich Fokina should be winning. The player we know, what we've seen, probably should be a bit too much for Joao Fonseca at the moment. But that's exactly what they want me to think. That's exactly what you want me to think, is it not? This is just the moment that's prime for Joao Fonseca to turn up and look 10 times better than what he has done and pull off the upset in this. And everyone will say they've seen it coming. And you know what? Something stinks in the garden. It really does. After what I've seen against Tristan Schoolkate, I said not for a while. I said maybe in a month or two we'll see how he gets on. But I can't help but feel like he pulls this one off. I'm not so convinced with the fitness of Davidovich Fokina. I have a lot of uncertainty and a lot of question marks surrounding the fitness of Davidovich Fokina. I really do. And you know he's a beatable opponent on the day. You know Joao Fonseca can do them on the day. Am I going to trust the young Brazilian to pull this one off? I would love to. Because he's currently at a dog price here, 2.3 to be precise. There's still a bit of cash. There's quite a lot of cash coming on Davidovich Fokina. This opened up, split down the middle, 1.9. I've got Davidovich Fokina at around 1.65. Now, considering he had to pull out of the last game, and then, you fast forward a couple of days, and he's in another tournament, something seems very strange about that. I wouldn't necessarily hammer Davidovich Fokina. Absolutely not. I feel like we at least need to give it a game with him anyway. He could turn up, and if he's good to go, fresh out the box, I would imagine he gets it done against Joao Fonseca. But, God, if I go against Joao Fonseca and he turns up and he beats the shit out of a very depleted Davidovich Fokina, it hurts a little bit more. It hurts a little bit more, I won't lie. So for the sake of an easy life, I'll probably just stay off this one. But I couldn't talk it off Joao Fonseca as the dog in this. I couldn't talk it off it whatsoever. I've got a feeling. Take a punt on him for a set. Just for a set. Like I said, everything I said at the start may just come true. Davidovich Fokina has been well better. Much more trustworthy. Much more efficient. Just everything he's been doing has been a lot more better. Can't trust him in this. Can't trust him in this. Especially after him pulling out. I just can't. I refuse to waste any more time on it. Let me know who you're going for in that. I imagine there'll be quite a few takers on Joao Fonseca today. And then let's wrap this shit up with Big Foe and Baez. It's Big Foe. Good night to everyone. Now it's got to be Big Foe, hasn't it? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I don't want to believe that Baez is going to beat Francis Tiafoe in the Cincinnati Masters. We're getting Big Foe. The best you're getting him at 1.2. Very steep. Very steep. But we kind of know he's going to win. We kind of know he's going to win this one. How big of an upset would this be if Baez was to turn up to the Masters in the States and take out Big Foe? Quite the upset indeed. I can't see it happening. I can't see it happening. It's barely 1.2. It's barely 1.2. Usually with these ones, we always say the rule applies. If you get a big dog, you look at a big spread or you look at a total. I could not advise you on any of those in this one. I think this could just be smooth sailing for Big Foe. Too big, too strong, everything like that. Too much. I say too much experience, not experience, but as far as efficiency goes on the hard court, it's night and day. The hard court efficiency is night and day between these two. However, where you approach this one, please do let me know. But at 1.18, I certainly would not be going anywhere near that one. Not a lot of value, certainly no business to be done in that. But that's going to do us once again. Quite a few once again tonight. I know they tend to drag on. I do apologise, but it's the way it's got to be. It's the way it's got to be sometimes, especially early days in these big tournaments. But I appreciate you watching, especially if you watch it all the way to the end. If you make it all the way to the end anyway, that is. I salute you. Tip of the cap to you. Thanks for watching, stopping by, as always. I appreciate each and every one of you, more than you probably know. But like and subscribe before you go. I'd appreciate that too. And I'll be saying good night to you. One more night shift for me. Wish me the best of luck. Cannot wait to have my days off. You can bet your ass on that. You take it easy. You take care of yourselves. You take care of one another. It's the most important thing, innit? Let me know what you're going for. Share with the group. Don't be shy. Get yourself involved. We all appreciate some advice. And I'll be seeing you. Folks. Enjoy the matches today. I'll see you tomorrow.